We're back with singer-songwriter, Dove Award winner, Don MOEN. So Don, we talked about you writing jingles for a while, but I love this because you had said you really felt compelled to, again, want to sing for God, want to perform for God. And you told God that you didn't want to write a song unless it was inspired by power, praise, healing, and deliverance.
Right. Those 4 words came to me because, writing the jingles and writing some songs, I had, kind of figured out a formula. This is how you can really write a hook into a song. And it just seemed shallow to me. There's nothing wrong with writing a great song with a great hook, but I was going to be, as a worship leader, I don't want to just write a hooky song. I want to write songs that touch people way past the area of their intellect or their emotions, and something that will change their life forever. And only the presence of God can do that. And I wanted to write songs, I wrote it down, that come in power, praise, healing, and deliverance. And I didn't write a song for a couple of years because I didn't really know what to do. And then one night, I was awakened in the middle of the night with a voice. I heard this voice say, turn to Psalm 40, verse 3. And I got out of bed and I opened my Bible, and it says, I have put a new song in your mouth, a song of praise to our God. Many will see it and fear and put their trust in the Lord. And I knew something had happened to me, and I said to my wife the next day, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I've been ordained into something, and I don't even know what it is yet, but God really put something in my heart and answered my prayer. And then I started writing songs that come in power, praise, healing, and deliverance.
And that day you wrote Here in Your Presence.
Yeah, just shortly after that, I just said, okay, I'm going to be a writer. And I sat down and I wrote Here in Your Presence, beholding your glory. Yeah.
And then your sister-in-law wrote you a letter.
Yeah, that was, she wrote a letter to Laura, really, my wife. She was writing to her sisters and, believed the Lord for furniture and some personal things. And she said, as I was praying for you, I had a vision of Don standing in front of thousands of people, leading them into God's presence and writing songs that soothe the hearts of kings. And I said to Laura, I said, honey, your sister is a great girl, but she's not a prophet. I failed my speech class in university because I could not speak in front of 15 people. And so I said, she's a sweet girl, but she's not a prophet. But about a year ago, Laura found that letter in her Bible, and everything had come to pass. I've sung before kings and world leaders. And the last part of that letter said, and your real strength is coming from Laura, standing behind the wings of the stage. And boy, is that the truth. We've been married 45 years, and she has been a rock to me,
Take us back to, it was January 1983 was your first worship experience.
Well, that's the first time I took a chance. Yeah, my idea I had 5 singers up front, and I was just in the piano at the back, and I put a microphone at the piano just in case I had to give some direction. And at the end of this concert, which was just a small concert, I just felt something more should happen, so I said in my quivery little voice, let's all sing that chorus one more time. and I was terrible at playing, and I was not a great singer, but I think the people in the audience thought, that poor guy needs help, we better sing with him, so that's how it kind of started. And then week after week, I just kept doing that, and eventually developed a style, I guess. Yeah.
Are you amazed at where God has taken you?
Yeah.
I mean, hence the reason for the book and the title, God Will Make a Way.
Yeah.
You look at all of the challenges that you went through and just trying to find where God wanted to place you.
Yeah, I would have never believed it if somebody would have told me this is what I would be doing. I mean, just because I wouldn't have picked Don MOEN. And but isn't it interesting how God picks people? And that's why I love to encourage people. If He can use me, He can use anybody. He made a way for me, and I tell a lot of those personal stories in the book as well. But if He can do it for me, He can do it for others.
Tell us about your challenge with anxiety and how that came about as well, because there was a season of anxiety.
Yeah, well, when when Laura and I wanted to have children, we were, we wanted to have children for 11, almost 12 years. We went to all kinds of, fertility doctors, and didn't share this with hardly anybody, just a few close friends. And it was just something that we just kept praying about, and it was, she had some miscarriages, and then, I don't know, after 12 years, and the doctor said there's nothing we can do, she got pregnant, and we had a girl. Wow. And then we had a boy, and then we had a girl, and then we had a boy, and then we had another boy. So in 7.5 years, God gave us 5 children. And so I pray for couples everywhere in the world. And it's amazing how many times a year later when I see them, I hold a little baby in my arms. I just have the faith to pray for that because he did it for us, and I know he can do it for others.
But also panic attacks on stage as well.
Well, that was in the Hong Kong Coliseum one night. I just right in the middle of singing, I didn't even know what a panic attack was. Mm-hmm. And it's like suddenly the stage is like tilting and I was sweating and I thought, what in the world? And I didn't know what it was, but the next day we had to fly to Jakarta, and on the airplane I felt the same way, and it was freaking me out. And so I called a doctor when I got to Jakarta. They said, well, you're having a heart attack and we're going to fly you to Singapore for open heart surgery. And I thought, well, that sure didn't help my panic attack.
Yeah.
So they took me to the hospital in Jakarta and did all the tests. And I remember sitting in the ICU ward, and the nurses were coming up to me and saying, oh, it's Don MOEN, it's Don MOEN. And they were holding my toes, and I'm thinking, do you mind? I think I'm supposed to be dying
medical emergency
here.
right now, yeah.
But it's like the doctor said, you're having an anxiety attack. And he went through a bunch of stuff, and man, it scared me, because it'd be one thing, when you get sick, you get a fever or something, but this just happened so fast, and it scared me. But I had to, I walked through that, but for many years I would just, you get afraid of being afraid, but the Lord brought me through that as well. So.
And then God Will Make a Way came out of your sister-in-law's family being in a car accident.
God Will Make a Way was written, I got the call late at night, the call you don't want to get when you hear about an accident, and I got on an airplane the next day, just asking the Lord to give me something to say to the family. And all the scriptures that came to my mind fell short of what I wanted to really say to them. And I was reading from Isaiah chapter 43, verse 18 and 19. It says, forget the former things. Behold, I will do something new, and now it will spring forth. I'll make a roadway in the wilderness and a river in the desert. And on the plane, the Lord gave me the melody and the words. I didn't write it to release as a song on a record. I wrote it for them privately, and I only sang it for them privately. And that was it. And I put it on a recording so they would have something to listen to when I knew there were going to be lonely days, and everywhere they looked was hopelessness. Their little boy was killed. But yet, through that process, it was a desperate situation, but it's not a song of desperation. It's a song of declaration. Yeah. I wanted to give them hope in a hopeless situation. And the song says, God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. That's what I wanted to tell them that day.
And I want to end with this quote from your book. It says, after all, the real question is not if he can calm your storm, but if you will invite him into your boat.
Right.
And throughout all of your experiences in life, I think that's what I've seen in reading your book as well, is that even though you admit being fearful at times, you always had God in the midst of it.
Yeah. Well, you have to be willing to, sometimes we don't ask Jesus to come in and to calm our storm until we're in a desperate situation, because we try to figure it out ourselves. And so it's never a question whether he will calm the storm, it's whether we will invite him to come into our situation and speak peace into it. And he will, if we'll ask him.
Thank you so much, Don. It was a pleasure having you here.
My pleasure, thanks.
Again, the book is called God Will Make a Way, and you can, all of the coordinates will be at the bottom of your screen. Stay with us. We'll be right back.